Welcome to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm Nicole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul and Rock Your Comeback, as well as an intuitive therapist, and I'm here to remind you of your power. This podcast focuses on mindset and inviting the universe in to create a life that feels so good, so aligned, and so authentic. I hope you're ready. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul and Rock Your Comeback, which is coming out August 22nd. I will be dropping the pre-sale soon, very soon. So keep a lookout for that so you can get your copy the day of. And I'm so excited for this podcast today. It is somebody new that I've connected with. Her name is Kacey Laird, and she is the founder and co-owner of the Ladies Lifestyle Network and host of the Chick Chat Collective. And she is just a bubble of light. If you have ever been through a really, really hard moment, this one is for you. If you're currently going through a hard moment, this one's for you. We talk about what it's like to rebuild your life after infertility, infidelity, and working to get on the other side of that black hole and what it really can be like when the universe is trying to weed things out of your life and pull new things in. So make sure you stay tuned for that conversation with her, which was such a good one. And don't forget, I've got Rock Your Comeback coming out, but I've also got the Comeback Club open. We just dropped a masterclass on trusting the universe, and this next one is on manifestation of your body image. So getting a better relationship with your body and a better mindset around your body. So I'm super excited to be doing that one with Ms. Heather Mayo. It's a full-blown masterclass. So make sure you check out the links in the bio so that you can join us in the Comeback Club. I just did the live Q&A today, and I'm super excited to share that with you. And also, I apologize about missing last week. My summer schedule is super crazy. I have a ton of travel, so we're hoping to make it every Wednesday, but we're also giving ourselves grace on the days that we've got too busy or we, it's just too much going on. So we're working towards keeping that routine of every Wednesday. But if in the summer months you see me be a little bit all over the place, we are, holding compassion for normal of busyness in life and that things sometimes get a little jumbled. So I appreciate your patience. And I also appreciate when you guys share these podcast episodes, share it with somebody you love, share it with somebody you care about who really, really needs to hear it. And also when you tag me on Instagram, it really, really makes a difference in this podcast. And when you leave a review, I appreciate everybody who's been doing that. It really means a lot to me. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think. Welcome, Kacey. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Kacey and I just met recently. We haven't actually met in person yet. So we're hopefully Wednesday, but I got a little snippet of her story and I was like, we're talking about comebacks. This girl has one hell of a comeback story and I am ecstatic for you to share that.
Thank you so much. Well, where would you like me to start really? From kind of I'll just start from the beginning. And as far as comebacks go, so I'm 37 years old now and I have a 4-year-old little girl, a 2-year-old little boy, and an almost 8-month-old little boy. But around when I was 30, I was trying to have a family with my ex-husband and it just wasn't. And so, I saw the top fertility doctors in Austin, Texas. I was living there for a while and I was told, as a 30-year-old, I wasn't 45 or 50, but I was told that I had low ovarian reserve, a low stimulating follicle hormone, all of these things. And I had a 1% chance of ever having my own baby, even with IVF. So it was basically negative whatever percent naturally, Yeah. So I did all the things, guys. I did IVF 5 times. I did 8 cycles of IUIs. I had a major surgery on my uterus because I had a septum in my uterus. That is one thing I will say to anyone struggling with infertility. They did not find the septum until 2 years later after all the IVF and IUIs were completed. And the septum is the biggest thing because it's basically like your uterus is shaped as a heart. It's supposed to be shaped like upside down triangle. But if it's shaped as a heart, the embryos cannot attach. And it's not super uncommon. So like if you are having trouble getting pregnant, just go and get an ultrasound of your uterus because it's a very easy surgery and they can fix your uterus. There's a part of me that's like, I wish they would have done this 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
Because that was the only problem. But then they wouldn't have made their like $300,000. So you know what I mean?
Right.
But I did all of these things, got pregnant finally with my daughter. And I did not find out till she was 4 months old. But my ex-husband, he had basically started cheating on me like right when I got pregnant. And we were together for over a decade. It's not like this was just some, quick relationship or whatever. I was fully committed to him. But yeah, she was 4 months old and I found out he had been cheating on me for almost a year, basically. And then I found out a lot more horrible things like about how that affair came about and things like all of our money was gone and spent and just weird things with this girl. And basically, I was never going to be a person to get divorced ever. I didn't believe in it. I am a child of 2 divorces. My mom divorced my dad and my stepdad. And I was just like, I'm never, ever, ever, ever getting divorced, right? Unless I'm cheated on or physically abused. Those are the 2 things.
Right.
Because those are 2 things I can't come back from.
Right.
And so when my daughter was 4 months old and I had these other 5 healthy embryos to implant, right, that I just like killed myself for years to do from all the IVF and stuff, I had to make a really hard decision. But he actually made it easier and easier for me the crazier and weirder the situation got and the things that were being asked of me. And I was just like, I cannot have my daughter thinking that like this is a healthy, normal situation. Like I just can't.
Yeah.
We separated immediately. Of course, that relationship with him and that girl did not turn out. So whatever, whatever with that. And I reconnected with who is now my fiance. We're getting married in November with my college flame who I had met when I was 18 at Radford. His name is Tyler. But it was just really crazy, guys, because in my head, right, and what was being told to me too during the separation is like, nobody's going to want you. You're in your 30s. You can't have babies. Like nobody's going to want to, we need to just stay married because you're going to be shit out of luck, basically, and it would have been very easy. I was just talking to Tyler about this last night. It would have been very easy for me to believe that. But there was something in my head that was just like, I'm not the one who did this like horrible thing. And I'm not the one. Like, I'm just not going to listen to you. I'm certainly not going to take relationship advice from you when you just threw away your marriage and your family. So Tyler and I reconnected, but I was very upfront. I was like, I can't have kids, just so you know, like I'm never going through IVF again and I will never be able to have kids. And so if that's a deal breaker, and he was just like, he's like, okay, we'll see. That was what he said. And, and bless this man because he was right. Very quickly into our relationship, I got pregnant naturally with Tyson, our son. Mm-hmm. And it was such a shock and miracle and blessing, but really a shock, but so meant to be. Like, I feel like it was God because I always had those other embryos like on the back burner. Like, what am I going to do with them? And how can I have Isla, like, not have any siblings? And then he was just like, well, here you go, and you did the right thing because I was scared about being a divorced woman and all this stuff. And I really just took that as like such a sign of like, you did the right thing for your daughter, for your family. I mean, Tyler is the most amazing as far as he's concerned. Isla is his daughter.
Yeah.
And he is so amazing. And then when Tyson was a year old, I got pregnant with our other baby, Jessie, who's 8 months old now, so it's just naturally with no help, as a person who just went through years of a lot of torture to have a baby, so there was that. And then I also had started a business out here in Charlotte before I found out about the affair and all that stuff. Isla was like 2-ish months old when I started it. And then our first event happened a week after I found out about the affair and like my whole world blew up. But it was a pretty big event. And I remember being there and 2 of my childhood best friends were actually doing the business with me. My business is called Ladies Lifestyle Network. They were doing it with me back then. We all kind of parted ways during COVID. But I remember just being there and being like a zombie, like all these women talking and stuff and just talking about like normal, cool, fun things. And in my head, I'm like, I have a 4-month-old baby and like my husband's asking me to move his girlfriend into our guest room. Like that's, I was just I was traumatized.
Yeah.
Carried you through during that, because when I talk a lot about black hole moments, and there's this fog that does happen once you have this moment that like shakes everything up, that makes you question your path, that makes you question yourself. Like, I'm wondering for you what that thing was, or that moment was, that you were able to finally like begin to shift out of that fog.
So for me, if you know me, I am an open book pretty much. And I like to talk things through. That's how I process. That's how I get through things. I talk about it with people who are close to me. But when I found out about this affair, I was told from my ex-husband, like, you can't talk to anybody about it. Because if you do, like, then we definitely can't stay together because everyone's going to put their 2 cents in, blah, blah, blah. So I kept it quiet for as long as I possibly could. And then I just couldn't anymore. And I told my dad and I told my mom and I told a couple of my closest friends. And the amount of support around me that I got, I knew I was going to be okay. Like I knew Isla and I were going to be okay. The thing for me though, I haven't had an easy life like ever. My childhood, it wasn't easy. I single mother, no money. I always just kind of had to put on like a happy face. It was harder for me than it was for everyone I grew up with, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like I had this resilience from a really young age. I grew up really quickly, but I think it was number one, Isla, looking at this baby that I fought for so hard. And here she is. She's this perfect little 4-month-old angel, sleeping through the night. Like, right. It was like God knew, right? Because the boys, they don't sleep. I haven't slept in 2 years now. And like, I was going to go through all these really hard things. And I needed a baby who allowed me to get some sleep and rest and like just be able to take on all of the challenges that were coming, because it was like a bomb and then a bomb and then a bomb, all these things in our marriage. And it was rough. But for me too, it was like his mask came off. So it really wasn't even like the same person anymore. It was really weird. It was like I'm dealing with someone other than the person I've been married to, because the person I've been married to like would never have done this or even asked me these crazy things that he's asking me or treated me like this while I was carrying his baby. And, so it was just, I think it's a mindset thing. I mean, trust me, I was traumatized for a long time. You have these things in your head of like this, you're like driving down the road and you're like, I can't believe that this happened. Like, I can't believe this is my life right now. You are literally in shock that it's like, I don't know what the correct like scientific term for it is, but you have those a lot for a while. You have those moments and then you're grieving, because I was grieving, first of all, like the loss of my marriage and this person who I thought he was, but he wasn't. And then this family that I created in my mind, right? It was like, I finally had everything I wanted. I finally had this baby. But like, I was like, you were cheating on me in our maternity pictures. Like you were cheating on me when we did her coming home from the hospital pictures. You were cheating on me when I was in the hospital for 3 days having this baby. Like everything, you were cheating on me at the baby shower. Like all these things were tainted.
Yeah.
And so it was like the loss of my family, and then thinking, right, I was going to have all 6 of those babies. So I was going to like implant another one when Isla was a year, and then another one. And then I was going to try to do twins because I had this whole plan.
Yeah.
But what's crazy, real quick, and then I will stop. I had this plan to implant when Isla was a year old, and I got pregnant with Tyson when Isla was a year old. And so I had on my calendar implant baby number 2. And then 9 months later, I had baby number 2's due date, and it was Tyson's due date. And then I had the
chills.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And I had the same thing for baby number 3. I'd done it with all of my embryos.
Yeah.
And same thing, implant baby number 3. And it was when baby number 2 turned 1. And baby number 3's due date, it was Jesse's due date. He was due October 4th. He came on the 13th. He was really late. But I told Tyler, I was like, that's just like one more sign that I was always meant to have these, but it just didn't come the way that I had planned it.
That's the key. Like, I mean, just so many good things, because I think that when people are vulnerable about these hard moments in their life, because a lot of people would say, oh God, that's so embarrassing to be like, oh, this is what happened in my marriage. That doesn't, feel good to have somebody who didn't choose me while we were going through all of these things. And you grieve the loss of what you thought was going to happen and how you thought it was going to happen and who you thought it was going to happen with. But I think you have like some beautiful, beautiful points looking back. And I think that's one of my favorite thing about black hole moments, right? Is that we cannot see the purpose when we're in it. But once we're able to get out of it, we can see, okay, I felt called to be a mom. I felt called to have babies on these dates. I felt called for this to be my life. But when I really let the universe take over, that calling isn't how was or how I thought it had to be, but that the universe or God had like a bigger, different, better plan for me. And honestly, like I look at that situation as an intuitive and I was like, the universe was trying to not give you any reasons to stay tied to him. The universe was doing all it could, even blocking, you from being able to have that natural birth or that natural baby the first time around, because it was trying to protect you. And the funny thing is we look at these things like they're flaws in us or they're flaws in our life. But the reality is that sometimes it's the universe stepping in because it sees something you're not seeing. It sees conversations that are happening that you're not hearing. And I think it does this in a beautiful way. So this is just a reminder for anybody listening who has gone through a hard situation that you might not be getting the life that you thought you were going to get, but damn, it might be better,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, so much better.
Yeah.
And I love how you said just now, like when you're in it, you can't see it. Because, girl, that is so true. I will tell you, for weeks, I was thinking my life is done. My life is over.
Yep.
My dream of this family and all of these things, it's over.
Yeah.
And I could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't. When something like that happens to you, I don't know how to explain it. And the only piece of advice I can give is, and I know people say this all the time, but it's time, right? Take it day by day, get through the day and pray or meditate or whatever it is that you do. And your self-talk is so important. It is so important, especially if you have someone who is not giving you the best self-talk. Like when you just said, like, this could be embarrassing or whatever. It's funny because the ex was like, and you can't tell anyone because this is really embarrassing for you. And I was like, this isn't embarrassing for me. This is embarrassing for you. You're the one that did this, not me. Like, people aren't going to be like, oh, how embarrassing for Kacey. They're going to be like, wow, that's terrible. Like, so stop trying to like brainwash me into thinking that like, if I talk about this, which he knows, like that's my way of processing stuff. I have to communicate and bounce things off of people. That's just the way I work. And of course, people are going to be like, Kacey, yeah, of course you cannot stay with him. Because I mean, it was really, really bad. And I just want people to know, though, I couldn't see it. I could not see later now. I am getting married to like the love of my life. He's like me, but in a male version of me, and the best father to our kids, which is just so important to me. Like all about family. Just, we are his home, his heart, his whole world, and just the way that I feel in this relationship is so much different, and, I met my ex when I was 21. I was young and didn't exactly know what I wanted. And I felt very secure in that relationship. And this is just on another level. I feel secure in so many different amazing ways in the relationship that I'm in now. So, day by day, if you're in it, and I promise, like, the more time that goes by and the more you can reflect on this from like a wider lens, right? Like you said, the universe is hearing these conversations that you're not. The farther you get away from whatever moment or whatever situation it is, the more you're going to see.
Well, and sometimes when we are in that hard space, it's so important to, usually I say zoom out on the bigger picture. This is not a time to zoom out on the bigger picture. The bigger picture looks fucked if you're looking at it too close, So yeah. This is actually time to absolutely zoom in on what can I control today? What is one thing I can do to move the meter? Because those days will add up. they will add up. And if you're looking at, oh, I just lost every trajectory of what I thought I had, maybe do a meditation, or today I'm going to just get out of bed and take care of myself. Or maybe today I just go through the motion of the event. Even if I can't be fully present, I can still go through the things that are important to me and my life's purpose. I actually want to tie this all back in, because one of the things you said that was a huge help to you when you were in that dark space is connection. And now you're in a situation where you are connecting others. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, it's always been kind of my gift or whatever. I've just always been a person who can walk into a room and chat with everybody very comfortably. And then I'm like, oh, that person would be really great to know that person. And, I've always kind of just been like this connector and communicator, especially of women. Like, I'm a girl's girl, and like I said, kind of coming from a single mom and hard childhood, and being able to now, like, I'm an adult, I have my own business, I have my own kids. And you realize too, the older you get as a woman, the more you need women in your life.
Yeah.
It's just
Absolutely
so important, And so my business is called Ladies Lifestyle Network, and we have chapters in Charlotte and in Austin, Texas, and we're actually expanding now. We just kind of made the big announcement, and we have like applications just coming in, which is so exciting. I'm so grateful. I'm also so grateful for my business partner. I have to give her a shout out, Christy Cool, because she just the yin to my yang. It's like I have my awesome marriage life partner, and then I have my awesome like business life partner, and I just feel like all of this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't gone through the stuff that I've gone through and really know what works for me and the kinds of people that I need for us to be like at our maximum potential, But we basically host events, women's empowerment and networking events, and we feature women on our online platforms, local business women. We also have speakers and charities at these events. So we always want to offer value. We want our people who come to the in-person events to be like, oh my gosh, like we just want them to feel so fired up and inspired when they leave. And that's like the biggest thing for us. And we also offer different little like experience events. So we'll do, like yoga and journaling. We have an amazing Reset and Renew Summit that you're actually going to be featured at. I know. So like for that one, we're going to be at a hotel in the rooftop ballroom. It's beautiful. And we have all these little self-care stations set up for everybody, and then a few workshops, and it's just going to be incredible. And then on the other side, I have my own podcast called the Chick Chat Collective, where we really just talk about these things. Because like what I tell everyone is, right, going through infertility as like a 30-year-old, going through all that stuff, none of my friends had gone through it. So I love them so much, but they were all getting pregnant naturally or not even trying. And they were trying to be supportive, which was so wonderful, but nobody I could relate to, right? Nobody got it. No one in my family had ever been through IVF. If you've ever been through IVF, it is freaking torture. That's, it sucks. And I did it 5 times, and IUIs aren't the most fun either. And just wanting a baby so bad and not being able to have one is such a lonely place to be, And then the affair. None of my friends had been through that. So it was like another kind of lonely place to be. And then I recently just had an experience when I gave birth to Jesse, and it went pretty bad. And when I was pushing, my uterus ruptured, and the doctors weren't sure what had happened. So I was in really excruciating pain for like 9 hours. And then they had to rush me down to emergency surgery. And I was told they were going to like just repair my uterus and everything would be fine. But they actually had to give me a hysterectomy. So at 36 years old, I had to have an emergency hysterectomy 8 hours after giving birth. And, that happened like 8 months ago. That was a little traumatizing. I woke up to
for sure. Yeah.
You will never have babies again now. Like it's impossible. But like no one has been through that either.
Right.
I keep going through these situations where I feel like I'm standing on my own and processing them and getting through them on my own and not really having anyone to talk to who's been through the same thing. And so that's just really what I want for that is I want people to be like, oh my gosh, like I've been through that too. And I know how that feels. And, you're going to get through it.
Such a massive power in sharing our experiences and in sharing our hard times. Not only does it release guilt and shame and release embarrassment or any of those other just dirty, yucky emotions, but it also helps us connect. And I love that that's what you're doing with everything that you're doing is, giving people a place to connect, giving people a place to relate to one another, allowing women a voice and giving them room to grow. And that's one of the reasons that I really created Rock Your Comeback, is because there's so many different phases in our comeback, but especially for those people who are in those black hole moments, they're in the fog, they're in the thick of it, they're feeling stuck in their life and they don't know how to get out. This is just a reminder that there's something on the other side.
Yeah.
And you are the most beautiful example of that, of just being willing to say, even if you couldn't do it for you at the moment in time, to be able to say, I have somebody counting on me. And if I can't do it for me, I'm going to do it for her. And I think that's a really incredible thing that a lot of people need to hear right now. I do feel like that. A lot of people need to hear your story, and a lot of people need to hear that sometimes also our body is protecting us and the universe is protecting us in ways that we don't see, in ways that we see as like the universe being against us, that it's actually in our favor. And so that's just a beautiful reminder. And your story is a beautiful reminder that not only can we unlock parts of ourselves and our purpose through what we've gone through and become who we've always meant to be because we went through that, sometimes the things that aren't working in our life are not maybe meant to work in the way we think they are. So I love this. And you were mentioning the event in Charlotte on July 8th. So if you're listening, I will drop all the links to connect with Kacey. Also, come see me if you are interested in kind of resetting for the summer in that second half of the year. Like, it's going to be a really fun event. I'm going to teach you all sorts of good things on manifestation and just really finding your power in it. So I'm excited for that. But where can people connect with you?
So you can connect with me personally. My Instagram is at Kacey.n.Laird, Laird. Facebook, I'm Kacey Laird. And then our business is Ladies Lifestyle Network. So it's just at Ladies Lifestyle Network. My podcast is the Chick Chat Collective. That's just, I can send you all these things too. But
Yeah.
Spotify or wherever. But our events, really, if you go to our Instagram, you can go to our link tree and all of our events are up there. We have some courses available too that we're rolling out, and applications if you ever want to bring something like that to your city. Like, we have a girl, Carrie, in Austin, and she's just crushing it. It's like you can see she's like stepped into her power and like just
I love to see
that, Yeah. And I'm just like, yes, I just want to do this for so many women, as many as possible. It's just a really, really good place to be. And we are so excited to have you with the manifestation journaling. Like, I was like, how cool is that? I was talking to Christy. I was like, I'm so excited to experience all of this, It's going to be amazing.
Yes. And I will drop all the links in the show notes, but I know some people don't show notes. So definitely wanted to make sure you're connected. I'll tag you in all the Instagram stuff too. Are there any last words of wisdom that are on your heart to share before we close up today?
Well, I just want to say thank you to you for having this space for women and men. If men are listening to this too, we all humans, I think, no one's life is perfect. So we're on this scale of these black hole moments, as you say, of things that happen to us. And, a lot of times they happen out of the blue, like when you're least expecting it. And I want everyone to know it will pass. Like, I promise it will. Even if you're like, no, there's no way, I'm never coming out of this. Like, I know how you feel. I truly know how you feel. And I can tell you that you are coming out of it. And the lessons that you learn from the experience help you to become such a bigger, brighter, better version of yourself. You are having these experiences for a reason. And it's happening to create this better version of what you're going to be and what your life is going to be. And so just kind of take that with you. Just know that, just to get yourself through. There is another side, I promise.
I love that. And I love this conversation. Like I said, I know it's going to speak to so many people who are just in that space at this very moment in time. And this is your sign that it gets to get better. I'm so thankful for you and so thankful that you jumped on today. Make sure to follow Kacey and make sure to keep an eye out for all things on my Instagram stories. I'll have all the links to the events. And thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Make sure to keep an eye out for my latest book, Rock Your Comeback, The Down-to-Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power, out this summer. I'd love to connect with you. Make sure to follow me on Instagram or TikTok at NicoleEaton.xo. Thanks for listening to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world. Now go step back into your power. The world's been waiting for you. But first, if you could, leave me a review or share with a friend. Thank you.